Good evening, class. Our first speaker for this evening will be Dr. Musa Mainga. Musa Mainga. Got it.
Good evening. Praise Yahshua. It's a blessing to be here today in front of the brethren and share something with you. I had a little, I don't know what's going on with my voice. Yeah, I don't have any symptom though, but I just feel like, so I'll raise my voice a little bit maybe. Oh, sorry. It's a blessing to be here to share something that Yahweh, Elohim, and Yahshua has revealed to us. I don't have that much today, but maybe let me just speak a little bit about the three trips that Moses took to the mountain, and he was shown the vision by Yahweh. And the reason why I wanted to speak about that, which is kind of a continuation of what I spoke about when I was in the floor the last time about sometimes pollution, spiritual pollution is going on in the world, and it's very easy to just dismiss it and think that, yeah, it has been happening forever and ever, and since whatever I've heard it. But the more Yahshua reveal things to us, the more you see in a very clear picture that is just not something that you can just dismiss or just think that is, yeah, things happen and then people move on, just like how we say people die, people, being born and something like that. But it's actually, what are we doing in our own spiritual journey to make sure that we prepare for that liberation of Yeshua the Messiah when we are translated to his kingdom. So Moses, I wonder if I should pick on the Elohim book, which would be better. I think it's Elohim Volume 1, page 20, where it started with the vision of the creations. I think it's 25. If I'm not, yeah. I'll just speak a little bit and we'll start. Basically, what Moses was called by Yahweh, and Yahweh revealed himself, and then Yahweh, revealed to Moses his name, his real name, because before that, his name was not revealed. And Moses asked Yahweh, when I go down here to the children of Israel, what should I tell you? And Yahweh, show him what that name actually is. That was just not a name, because that was the Almighty power and everything. And Yahweh demonstrated to Moses how the name Yahweh come with, which is power to kill and power to, make life. And that was when Moses was sent down here to, where Yahweh was gonna, save the children of Israel out of the bondage of Egypt. And Yahweh set it up area since, during the time when he told Abraham about the promise. But before that, the seeds will go down and they'll be in bondage. So I'm just chopping just to go a little, so I can get where we are. And so when Moses came down here, the reason why Yahweh has to do that, because Yahweh has to demonstrate to his power to every generation, everybody who was around that time, because the Egyptian has their own gods, and they have almost gods for everything. So Yahweh have to demonstrate not only for the children of Israel, but also to the Egyptians that he's the Almighty Yahweh, that Yahweh is only one Yahweh, and there's no other, other God, in this, little earth beside him. And like I say in the beginning, and I've always repeated, and sometimes the reason why I'm repeating this all over and over, and even with myself, is because Yahweh could have just done one miracle here, by just killing, maybe, let's say, pick anything, demonstrate that, and then just took the children of Israel out. If that was the case, he could have just done that. But the reason why he did that is because he wanted to demonstrate that nothing has more power than him. So he had to do all those 10, devastating plagues to kill all Egyptian gods to show how, his power is, which is always, I'm saying, within ourselves. Once we code here and we're sitting here, we have our own gods, our carnal-minded things that are in our own thinking about, this Yahweh, Elohim, and Yahshua. And so Yahweh has to knock down every little demons, every little gods that we have in our spiritual journey in order for him to actually clean us up and put us here so that now he can teach us what actually Yahweh is. So after demonstrating that, Yahweh took the children of Israel out of the bondage and he led them out here in the wilderness of Sinai. It's here after 3 days when Moses was told, Moses come up, and Yahweh instructed him to go down and tell the children of Israel to worship because he's going to speak his law on the third day. And then after that, on the third day he came, he spoke. The children of Israel say, all that Yahweh have said, we will do it. And Moses used the blood to sprinkle on the rock. I think it was on the rock. And that was I'll use it as a contract that Yahweh is their savior and they will do what Yahweh have told them to do. So that was, my point is the first trip that Moses took to the mountain when he was called was that instruction to go tell the children of Israel to worship because Yahweh will speak his law. And then the second trip was when, and Moses have taken many, trip up in here, but we always demonstrate those 3 trips because they have significance in, this, because Elohim is the archetype pattern of the universe. And I hope I'm going to make my points. So the reason why those trips are very important because it signifies everything that he had set it up all the way from the beginning to it's going to come down for him to come down and fulfill it. So, for example, when that, I can't even find that word. Terry always speak about this. Contracts, the testament. No, the testament. The testament. When they, the testament, the covenant. Yeah, the covenant. Yeah, thank you. The covenant was, established with the children of Israel, and they agreed to do what Yahweh have told them. The second trip is when Moses is called up in the mountain, and he was called Yahshua at that time, which we knew was Yahshua, but then when we come to the class here, that's when we know it's actually him, as Yahshua that is with Moses, who is calling him to go up there with the seventh elder, Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu, who saw Yahweh in this Elohistic state. And, we will read here, that they saw him in this Elohistic state. And that's when Moses went up here and then he was shown the creation. So let's pick up there on the vision of the creation.
This is from Volume 1 of Elohim, the Archetype Original Pattern of the Universe. The section is entitled The Vision and History of the Creation of Heaven and Earth, and is found on page 25. See chart proving the Exodus before the Genesis, page 19, and chart number 6, page 18. Mm-hmm. We have explained Exodus, the 24th chapter, from the 1st to the 15th verses. Now we shall explain the 16th verse. Moses, while still on the mount and within the midst of the cloud, was shown another vision.
So let me stop you there because I wanted to insert something. So this is the second trip that Moses was called, and he was told only Moses will come up in the mountain. And this seventh elder, he told them that, you stay here, wait for us, which he was referring to to Yahshua, his ministry, because they will be here on the mountain where Yahweh have summoned them to, summon Moses to come, because he will show him the creations. He'll show him the tabernacle, the thing that Yahweh wanted Moses to come down here and do it. Go ahead.
This time, beginning with Exodus 24:16, he, Elohim, showed Moses a panoramic vision of the creation of heaven and earth. Elohim manifested himself to Moses in an incorporeal form as the creator of heaven and earth and all that in them is.
So when Yahweh is showing Moses, what Moses is seeing the tabernacle pattern is Elohim. And then in this tabernacle pattern, which is intangible tabernacle pattern, that Yahweh is showing, and through the tabernacle, everything was created, which means everything that was created followed the pattern. I tend to listen, because I'm in the field of science, and tend to listen to, the other day, I like, what's that, Neil deGrasse, I can't say his last name. He's a deGrasse, yeah. He's like, he always have this very interesting talks, it's called Star Talks. And sometimes, and I always refer to this because everything, I think every time you're in something, you're sitting or you're doing something, you have to acknowledge the presence of Yahweh. Because sometimes you may listen or hear something and you may brush it as something that is like, oh, this is just some talks or whatever, something. But Yahweh is trying to show you something about himself. And it can be something that he can show through other things. Like, so we're talking about every time here, people are very eloquent on explaining about these historical events that are happening within, our earth. And all these historical events are happening and they follow the pattern, what Yahweh have already created and have put it into, in place. And so whatever we see that, or me, I will use me, it's just acknowledging the presence of Yahweh and see what is Yahweh trying to show you. So they were talking about how the universe is expanding, how it started and how it's expanding and how it's going over and over and over, that at some times, because demonstration was that during the infancy stage of the universe, dark matter was not that, could not be recognized because it was so dense. And the more expansion happened, dark matter is taking that space, because now we can see, a galaxy and stuff like that. But what they're predicting is that the more expansions happen, there'll be a time where we cannot even see the stars that we're seeing, because dark matter will be, taking more spaces, and eventually we will just be isolated, and it will be like just, it's a lot of things that are they were just predicting, which are happening in billions and billions of years. But what I was thinking in my head is the fact about Yahweh himself and how we, as his creature that he created, we know so little. And just that little part, because how they were demonstrating where we are in terms of the universe and how this expansion, and looking at here's the earth and here's this galaxy over here. And, like it's like a little, it's not even a drop of a pin. It's just so little. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking on myself, here we are, we're in this earth and we're looking up there and we're seeing these things and it's like amazing and it's huge and everything is just so humongous. And yet we are so small compared to the universe. Like we're just a tiny, tiny little things compared to these things. And this is just a demonstration of how powerful Yahweh is, that we are within Yahweh. Every time we always speak about the crowd surrounding this, because we are within Yahweh. And Yahweh have set times and bounds and everything within it. And that's the little thing that he revealed to us, just like how he's going to do to Moses here, through a pattern, so that he can understand the things about the heaven through this tabernacle pattern. Is how just a little things about, I don't know if I'm making myself, like just a little things about, revelation that we get excited about Yahweh, knowing about Yahweh. But there's so much. That's what I'm trying to say. There's so much that we don't know. then we'll get to know more and more as we get to know Yahweh. So for me, when I was listening, that's excitement that I had when I hear that talking about the universe. Whereas other people can be like scared. I'm like, oh my God, we'll be extinct. I'm excited because I see. Imagine this little thing that we know about Yahweh, and we get excited. The thing that He shared with us, the thing that He revealed to us about the power, the strength, the foundation, the beauty. And these are divine love, wisdom, and, our knowledge. And then He is demonstrating things about how the tabernacle is actually identical to your own body. And we get excited about it. That's just a little tiny thing that we are discovering, and we get excited. But there's so much more about Yahweh that we're going to get excited about, which is what is showing here on where we are reading what Moses is being shown by Yahweh here. So continue.
Therefore, in this vision, Moses heard and saw within 6 solar days Elohim in the process of creation by himself, the pattern, each evening and morning or day by day in logical sequence until he had reached the 7th day.
So he went through the first day, the second day, the third day, the 4th day, the 5th day, the 6th day, then the 7th day he rests. What Moses is seeing is Yahweh turning himself over and over and doing all this, creation, but it's going according to the pattern. And I know I'll stick on this just because I don't want to get out, because I was gonna go out of this, but I will just stick with what my message is like today, that I just feel like it's in my heart to share. So Moses just is showing this. Yahweh is showing Moses how this tabernacle pattern, which is actually here, because he showed him this, and how everything has to be, when he come down, Moses, he's going to have to build the tabernacle. But everything have to be set up certain way, and he cannot miss even a centimeter or anything, because everything has to align accordingly, because what Moses is being shown here represent, the heavenly things. And anything in error, think about it. Again, I'll go back to astronomy. They were talking about all these asteroids that are coming through from every time there's all this asteroid. And they were asking, so one of the cycle that they were showing is like this asteroid is coming, but it's going to miss the Earth just a little bit, and it's going to go, and it's going to pass by, they say 2060, whatever, something like that. And I'm thinking, and actually the guy, I really like him because he's a funny guy, because he always like to ask a question in a very jokingly way. He's like, so what happened if you just move a little bit? And then he was like, yeah, we are doomed, But everything is so accurate that it's just happening, and you think that it's just haphazard. But no, everything is so precisely measured, taken care of, according to Yahweh. So that's what I'm excited. And then we start talking. They start talking about the solar and how the waves, how the solar flares. Sometime when the solar flare comes, through, and how long it takes to get to us. By the time we see, it's already happening, because how the speed of lights travel from the suns to to us. And I am also thinking, think about it. We already have this body, and I'm going to use this because I'm in the science thing. We already had this body. We were walking in this earth. We are doing all the things that we're doing. But it's until Moses was shown, and until Dr. Kingsley was, the thing about the heaven thing was revealed, that's when we start to know, our body is actually the reflection of the tabernacle pattern. Our body is actually pattern. We're starting to know these things, but they were already there. We were already human. We were already walking in the earth. We were already doing this. We just were not we did not acknowledge that these are things that Yahweh had already set it up according to the pattern. And with that speaking, that's why at some time I used to struggle with this, and it took several lectures here when they were going through, because here's how I used to think, that when Moses is shown this, day by day, day 1, day 2, day 3, it's like actually Yahweh is like literally doing day 1, and Yahweh is, waiting. Day 2, and Yahweh is, Yahweh spoke and it was done. But I never connected that. Like I used to think that it's like everything was according, like, day 1, day 2, like he had to wait. Day 1 is finished. Oh, then day 2 in the morning, this is what we're gonna, just how it's written in the Bible. In my understanding, that's how. And I sat in this class for quite some times until somebody really make that distinction when Moses, received that vision. It's like Yahweh slowing it down to make Moses understand it. Yahweh spoke and it was done. So I'm thinking about the sons, the Freya, how they travel, this, the speed of light, that how long does it take? Like I think they were talking about 8 minutes, I think. By the time it's come to our own, that we see, but it's already happened. 8 minutes ago, it was, it's already happened. So it's all those things that makes, and you start thinking, like, and then, like we always say, I think somebody also mentioned about the pattern, how even people who are like designer or good designer, car builders or anything like that, when they come and just really do their pattern, they design the pattern, and then they make a model that is going to be used to make this other car. Everything is already happening here, Everything is already happening here, and then they just come and demonstrate and they show it. But we are doing these things like haphazard, like just like we think like we're doing. No, because it's original from our Father. He created us. So we're gonna follow the pattern, just like how because he has divine wisdom, divine knowledge, divine intelligence, divine justice, divine power, divine strength, divine foundation. And from this, all these things came out from it. From this, all these things came out from to make the creation. So my point here I'm trying to say is like every time we see things that Yahweh has done is reflection back, it's a reflection back of him and his power and his almighty. And it's just acknowledgement of that presence of Yahweh, how big the presence of Yahweh is. So continue where we are.
Moses wrote in Exodus 24:16, and the glory of Yahweh abode upon Mount Sinai, and the cloud covered it 6 days. And the 7th day he called unto Moses out of the midst of the cloud. It was here at the colon, after the 6 days in the 24th chapter of Exodus, and the 16th verse in the year 1490 BY, after Moses had led the children of Israel out of Egypt under the leadership of Yahweh Elohim, that Moses was called into Mount Sinai and was shown the vision of the creation of heaven and earth, as is quoted by Moses in the 1st chapter of Genesis.
So that's another thing I have to acknowledge, that I resisted that part too when I hear the first time when somebody say, insert the Genesis here, because of the way we were taught how to read Bible in the Christian world. It's like, how dare you tell me that here's what it's supposed to, it's kind of like how I took it in my first time was going against, I don't know even how to use that, going against the teaching, or kind of like, yeah, I believe, but it's more, because the way I was raised and taught, the Bible is very sacred, that how you read it, it is what it is. You don't alter, you don't try to interpret, change whatever. This is a holy book, and you, it's kind of sacred, but there's a word for it, like when you say something. So like, my Muslim brother, friends who say something that is very absurd about, let's say, the Quran or anything in the world, there's a word for it. Like, you can be murdered because of saying something like, so that's, like, I know back home people have certain belief when it comes to Bible that you cannot alter, when you read, it's how it is. So when we go and you say, actually, here is where you can insert Genesis and see in the first day Yahweh created, from Exodus, and you realize how the vision itself was revealed to Moses, and that Moses was the one who wrote the five first book of the Bible. Then you start seeing things how it's very easy. And I always use this example, how it's very easy when people are on the highway and they just get in an exit, and before you know, you're so far to get back in the highway because people have been deceived. It's just very easy. So it's very trying to explain to somebody about, the creations based on how the story of the Exodus happened and how Yahweh had, his purpose set. It's just a little, I don't know how to use it. It's very backward. But then I'm glad that I get to know, and it was shown to me, and thanks to many people who have stood here and explained it through Yahshua the Messiah and revealed that information. And when he revealed to Dr. Henry Clifford Cleaney, because if it wasn't that, I would still be probably out there. Go ahead.
As is quoted by Moses in the first chapter of Genesis, see chart on the Exodus before the Genesis, page 19, which says, in the beginning of Moses' vision, Elohim created the heavens and earth. Moses saw in the vision in Genesis 1, verse 33, Holy Name Bible, that on the seventh day, Elohim completed his work and rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. The record of the creation in the first chapter is not a record of the actual creation, but an account of Moses' vision.
And that's very important, an account of Moses' vision. And I think that's where I was referring when I found out about that. It was not just historical events are happening, but more of an account of what Moses was shown by Yahweh when he was out in a mountain. And I wanted to go there because I know there's some people who are really good on explaining the first day. Daniel is one of them. David is one of them. They go through like a first day, second day, and how it really good correlated with the tabernacle. So I'm not there yet. One day I'll be able to do that. Go ahead.
But an account of Moses' vision, which he had in Mount Sinai in the year 1490 BBY, or 2,513 years AM after the first man Adam.
Okay.
The fact that Moses was called into Mount Sinai in the year 1490 BY and saw in a vision the creation of heaven and earth, which he recorded in the first chapter of Genesis and confirmed by the threefold pattern of the tabernacle, proves that the long-sought mystery by scientists, theologians, and commentators of the record of the creation was not of Babylonian or Assyrian origin of mythology.
And there's still a debate among theologians and all these people who study, they call themselves Biblistic, Bible theology and whatever. And I can't say that, but I know I have a discussion with very theologian, people who have done theology and they're teaching theology in college and everything about just that specific story. And they're still, and that's a funny thing about it because they're trying still to go back and refer the Babylonians stories and stuff like that and trying to incorporate some of the ideas about the deeds and everything. And I had a very, very, very intense conversation with one of it, who is a family member, a theologian who teaches college in theology, about exactly that story about Genesis versus the Exodus, where Moses started, receiving the visions. And he was like, which actually he was mad, but he, at the end, acknowledged that actually it makes sense, but he didn't want to say it. But when he read it, because I made him read over and over, and then go back to Genesis, and then read that section, and go back to Genesis, he said, I know it makes sense, but I say, that's all I need, my brother. The rest you can do like a little more research, you'll find out, because it was getting a little out of hand, so I didn't want to go there. Yeah, it was getting hot. I knew my time was, up when things getting a little heated, but it was like a very present, conversation that I was able to share about it and just ask that questions, and it was, just something. Anyway, my point is, and I'll cut it, quick. When Moses was up here for those 40 days, because what happened here is Moses was shown those 7 days of creation, and then am I getting backward? 7 days and then 30 days. 7 days of creations, and then the 33 days where Yahweh showed him how exactly he's going to build this tabernacle. What are the things that I go through all detail. Now think about it, 33 days of details, explanation on how things have to be put in place in the tabernacle. 33 days of those, details stuff. There is important, which means Yahweh is telling Moses, because everything that is going to happen here represent the heavenly things. So Moses cannot make mistakes down here. However, Yahweh had already had in control, because he will have put his spirit on people who will help Moses to build these things. So I'm going to, fasten it up, and I was gibberish. But here, when Moses came down, these people here, because he was up here for 40 days, 40 nights, they thought Moses is gone. Moses have left us. Moses have abandoned us. He took us out of Egypt and he abandoned us. They came down here, and, the demons and the devil and whatever convinced, in their hearts, they built this golden calf. They built this golden calf and they start worshiping it. And this is after Yahweh have told them, I am Yahweh, you are Elohim, have taken you out of Egypt. I'm your Almighty. And they say, all that Yahweh have said, we will do. This is after they say that. Then they end up building this golden calf here. And they worship it. And as we know, as we read, if you read the section, Moses was waxed, and I think there was 33,000 people who were killed at that time. And then he was also, so after that, he was called, Yahweh called him again, which is the third trip, where Moses has to hew a stone by himself and bring that stone up here. So Yahweh can write the law again, because he broke the table of, when he came down, he broke it because he was so mad. However, the one thing that I really wanted to bring it out before I sit down is because once you look on those three trips, especially the third trip, it's that even if he had the table of stone, the tabernacle was not yet built. So there was no place to put the tabernacle, which he kind of refer in Ezekiel, where he say, on those days, I'll put my law in their heart, because the first covenant the children of Israel broke. But it was said that way because himself, as Yahshua the Messiah, will come down and fulfill everything that he's set it up here. And it's during that time also, on the third trip, when Moses now see, because Yahweh show him again the creations and show him everything that will transpire until himself will come as Yahshua the Messiah to serve his people. It's during that time that when Moses understood that he saw the sin, he saw these events here, and making sense of these events, and how Adam has to die for his bride, so that they can, it's that time, after the third trip, that things are starting to make sense to Moses. And the reason I wanted to, and I'm sorry if I was all over the place, but my point was the first trip, the second trip, and the third trip. It's until you see the third trip and start explanation when you understand why everything Yahweh was doing here and how this events here happen, because it's revealed through this whole scenario of Moses going up and down those three trips. And so for me, that was like a beautiful things to understand, and I know I'm still understanding more and more the little thing that are still not even shown, all the time. There's always new things, but I felt like this is something that I maybe share with, others. And if anybody, gets something, that is always appreciated. And with that, I say hallelujah. Thank you.
Our next speaker will be Dr. Marta Cerna.
Good evening, class. I enjoyed the word of the previous speaker. He went through Moses' vision and the 3 principal trips of Moses. And 7 days of creation, 33 days to build the tabernacle. I'll continue in that phase process. I do appreciate that that Yahweh has kept us coming here. And it is so important that we do come, and sometimes we can. I'm the first one who can come, so, but I do watch class and YouTube and other classes. But what I want to say is that people are evil. And I just want to make general, I am so amazed. I am so amazed and surprised, and I don't want to use maybe that. You know how they say 80 this, 20 that? I would think people is 80% good and 20% evil, but it's not so at all. Anyway, I've been reading and the book of, I've been reading almost every day, and the last time I was on the floor, I want to talk, and we always talk about the building of the tabernacle. And I would love to talk about the function of the tabernacle. And it's the book of Leviticus a little bit. As I'm reading it, I have to go back and read again and come back this way, flip the page this way, go back this way. The priest here, the priest here was just not a priest. He was also like a doctor. Yeah. Yes. I was like, what? From leprosy, this skin, that skin, if you're pregnant, if you have a child, if you have a girl, you do this, you do that. 2 weeks for you, 7 days for you, 60 days if you're a female, all this stuff. But I want to concentrate on the function. So this priest had lots of duty. But I would love for us to get, and I'm not going to go too much into a lot of, Leviticus the 10th chapter, and then also Leviticus, is it the 16th, I think, also. And you can start reading a little bit. So we always talk about Aaron, David, and Abihu, and the 70 children of Israel. But I want to talk about that a little bit here in a function as the priesthood a little bit. You can start 10 and 1.
Leviticus 10:1. And Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aaron, took either of them to censer, or took either of them his censer, and put fire therein, and put incense thereon, and offered strange fire before Yahweh, which he commanded them not.
Not to do. So you see, if and I couldn't find it, but I'm sure it's in there. These fires, Yahweh lit these. So you could not take different fire. You had to get everything from here. Right. You could not take anything outside of this. Right. Because what happened?
And there went out fire from Yahweh and devoured them, and they died before Yahweh.
Right. Continue.
Then Moses said unto Aaron, This is that Yahweh spake, saying, I will be sanctified in them that come nigh me, and before all the people I will be glorified. And Aaron held his peace. And Moses called Mishael and
the son of
Elazaphan, the son of Uziel, the uncle of Aaron.
Uncle of Aaron, yeah.
And said unto them, Come near, carry your brethren from before the sanctuary out of the camp.
So you have to get them out of the camp. They cannot be in the camp. Continue.
So they went near and carried them in their coats out of the camp, and Moses had, as Moses had said. And Moses said unto Aaron and unto Eleazar and unto the Ithamar his sons, Uncover not your heads, neither rend your clothes, lest ye die. And lest wrath come upon all the people, but let your brethren, the whole house of Israel, bewail the burning which Yahweh had kindled.
Can you go back and read that a little bit?
6th verse. And Moses said unto Aaron and unto Eleazar and unto Ithamar.
Those are Aaron's two other sons. That was, I've been like Dr. Maungo said, you sit in this class and you hear stuff, and because we always read Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu. But really, who took on the priesthood, they died because they took strange fire. Right. So these two other sons that just happened to, Aaron happened to have to take their placement. Now, I feel that that's significant. I just don't know the significance for the replacement, but I'm sure Yahshua will reveal it someday. But anyway. Right? So those two, Eleazar, right? And what's the other son?
Ithamar.
Ithamar replaced Nadab and Abihu. Please continue.
Uncover not your heads, neither rend your clothes, lest ye die, lest the wrath come upon all the people. But let your brethren, the whole house of Israel, bewail the burning which Yahweh had kindled. And you shall not go out from the door of the tent of the congregation, lest ye die. For the anointing oil of Yahweh is upon you. And they did according to the words of Moses.
So they were anointed to serve. Continue.
And Yahweh spake unto Aaron, saying, Do not drink wine nor strong drink, thou nor thy sons with thee, when you go into the meeting tent of the congregation, lest ye die.
Okay.
It shall be a statute forever throughout all your generations, that ye may put difference between holy and unholy,
holy, right,
and between unclean and clean, and that ye may teach the children of Israel all the statutes which Yahweh had spoken unto them by the hand of Moses.
Okay, that's good. So then there are other laws and statutes, and they go into details. So that was 10. Can someone, I'm going to read 16, but before you go to that and hold that, go to 11, the beginning of 11. Leviticus 11, a little bit. please.
Beginning of Leviticus 11:1. And Yahweh spake unto Moses and to Aaron, saying unto them, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, These are the beasts which ye shall eat among all the beasts that are on the earth. Whatsoever parteth the hoof and is cloven-footed, and cheweth the cud among the beasts, that shall ye eat. Nevertheless, these shall ye not eat of them that chew the cud, or of them that divide the hoof.
So that's a camel, right? And
As the camel, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof. He is unclean unto you.
Right.
Continue.
And go to that chapter 12.
6.
So he gives, and I'm just touching a little base, but these are a part of the function of this tabernacle. So we always talk about Exodus and they talk about the structure and how to build it, but also there is the function, and it's very detailed. And it's very beautiful if you really read it. It will, you kind of have to read it over and over a little bit to get it. But please continue in the next chapter.
12:1. And Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, If a woman have conceived seed, and born a man-child, then she shall be unclean 7 days.
So listen to this. This is where I was like, really? So she's unclean for 7 days.
According to the days of the separation for her infirmity shall she be unclean. And in the 8th day, the flesh of his foreskin shall be circumcised.
Right. Continue.
And she shall then continue in the blood of her purifying 3 and 30 days.
So
She
that's
shall touch
30
no
days,
hallowed
right?
thing. 33 days.
33 days, okay.
7 and 33.
7 and 30, okay. Please continue.
She shall touch no hallowed thing, nor come into the sanctuary until the days of her purifying be fulfilled.
So she could not come around here. Continue. I want to go to the female version.
But if she bear a maid child,
A female child,
then she shall be unclean 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Now the male was 1 week and the female 2 weeks. And I said, well, why? Aren't we the bride? Aren't we the female? Aren't we the bride of Yahweh? He has to clean us, right? A little bit. But that's the way I looked at it. It could be made different, but continue.
But if she bear a maid child, then she shall be unclean 2 weeks, as in her separation. And she should continue in the blood of her purifying 66 days.
So that's 60 days. 63.
66 days.
66. Twice as long. Why is that? What's the difference? No, really.
That equals 70. No, more than 70. 80. 66 plus 14.
That's what I've been asking that. I said, "Is okay." I agree. I said to myself,
Minus 40 is 40.
"Huh?
The difference is 40 days.
Oh, there you go. The difference is 40 days. Gotcha. The difference between the 33 and the 66 is 40.
The
It's
difference between the 7 plus 33
7 plus
and
33.
the 14 plus 66.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
The difference is 40 days.
40 days. Okay. Please continue.
One is a total of 40 days, the other is a total of 80 days.
Oh, okay.
6th verse. And when the days of her purifying are fulfilled for a son or for a daughter, she shall bring a lamb of the first year for a burnt offering, and a young pigeon or a turtle dove for a sin offering, unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation unto the priest, who shall offer it before Yahweh and make an atonement for her, and she shall be cleansed from the issue of her blood. This is the law for her that hath borne a male or a female.
That's good. The next chapter. Just at the beginning, too. Yeah. So I'm
Leviticus-
still talking about the function of the tabernacle. Continue on that.
Leviticus 13:1. And Yahweh spake unto Moses and Aaron, saying, when a man shall have in the skin of his flesh a rising, a scab, or a bright spot, and it be in the skin of his flesh like the plague of leprosy, then he shall be brought unto Aaron the priest, or unto one of his sons, the priest. And the priest shall look on the plague in the skin of the flesh.
So, hold on a second. So if I was living in that time and I had a little sore or a male, you had to go to the priest and he had to examine that. But how would he know what's wrong with the skin? He's not a doctor. I am just asking these questions, don't you?
He was considered the chief physician.
He was considered the chief physician, Aaron.
Who was Joshua? Joshua healed.
Okay.
So the priest was a type and shadow.
So Aaron is a type and shadow of Yahshua, the Messiah, the healer. There you go. Please continue.
And when the hair in the plague is turned white, and the plague in the sight be deeper than the skin of his flesh, it is the plague of leprosy. And the priest shall look on him, pronounce him unclean. If the bright spot be white in the skin of his flesh, and in the sight, but not deeper than the skin, and the hair thereof be not turned white, then the priest shall shut up him that hath the plague 7 days.
Yeah.
And the priest shall look on him the 7th day, and behold, if the plague in his sight be at a stay, and the plague spread not in the skin, then the priest shall shut him up 7 days more.
Right.
And the priest shall look on him again the 7th day, and behold, if the plague be somewhat dark, and the plague spread not in the skin, the priest shall pronounce him clean.
Right.
But it is but a scab, and he shall wash his clothes and be clean.
Right. The other chapter, just 14 and 1, or are we in 4? What are we just read? What did you just?
13.
Okay, 14.
14 and 1. And Yahweh spake unto Moses, this shall
As
be...
you can see, everything Yahweh spake unto Moses. Yahweh's given it, so he's given instruction on what needs to happen. Please continue.
And Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, this shall be the law of the leper in the day of his cleansing. He shall be brought unto the priest, and the priest shall go forth out of the camp, and the priest shall look, and behold, if the plague be leprosy, be healed in the leopard. Then shall the priest command to take for him that is to be cleansed 2 birds alive, and clean, and cedar wood, and scarlet, and hyssop.
Okay, that's good. So, I was reading something. I just bought, I'm a network fan, a QVC and HSN fan. So I always buy my product from there. But they had a spray that kills all thing and is made out of cedar wood. Which was interesting. It's all natural for creatures, and stuff like that. I don't like creatures, any kind of creeping stuff. So, and then you can spray it on yourself, and it says it smells good. And I was reading that cedar, it's an old spice for a long time. Can you read the other chapter, 15 and 1, please?
Leviticus 15 and 1. And Yahweh spake unto Moses and to Aaron, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When any man hath a running issue out of his flesh, because of his issue he is unclean. And this shall be his uncleanness in his issue, whether his flesh run
So
with his issue.
I did not know what issue is. Anyone knows what that means?
Stuff running out.
That's what I was thinking.
What if your skin just liquid?
No, runny nose, he said.
Oh, runny nose?
The footnote says, verses 15, 2 through 15, these verses describe a diseased condition of the male sexual organs resulting in bodily
Thank
discharge.
you for saying that. Yes. I was I was reading that and I was like, whoa. He was very thorough in giving Moses what to do here. Please continue.
And this shall be his uncleanness in his issue, whether his flesh run with his issue or his flesh be stopped from his issue, it is uncleanness. Mm-hmm. Every bed whereon he lieth, that half the issue is unclean, and everything whereon he sitteth shall be unclean.
Yeah, that's good. Now 16. So I always I like 10 and 16, but please continue 16 and 1.
16 and 1. And Yahweh spake unto Moses after the death of the two sons of Aaron, when they offered before Yahweh and died. And Yahweh said unto Moses, Speak unto Aaron thy brother, that he come not at all times into the holy place within the veil before the mercy seat, which is upon the ark, that he die not. For I will appear in the cloud upon the mercy seat. Thus shall Aaron come into the holy place, with a young bullock for a sin offering, and a ram for a burnt offering. He shall put on the holy linen coat, and he shall have the linen breeches upon his flesh, and shall be girded with a linen girdle, and with the linen mitre shall he be attired. These are the holy garments. Therefore shall he wash his flesh in water, and so put them on. And he shall take of the congregation of the children of Israel 2 kids of the goats for a sin offering, and 1 ram for a burnt offering. And Aaron shall offer his bullock of the sin offering, which is for himself, and make an atonement for himself and for his house. And he shall take the 2 goats and present them before Yahweh at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And Aaron shall cast lots upon the 2 goats, 1 lot for Yahweh, and the other lot for the scapegoat. 9th verse. And Aaron shall bring the goat upon which Yahweh's lot fell, and offer him for a sin offering. But the goat on which the lot fell to be the scapegoat shall be presented alive before Yahweh, to make an atonement with him, and to let him go for a scapegoat into the wilderness.
Yeah. Please continue.
11th verse. And Aaron shall bring the bullock of the sin offering, which is for himself, and shall make an atonement for himself and for his house, and shall kill the bullock of the sin offering, which is for himself. And he shall take a censer full of burning coals of fire from off the altar before Yahweh, in his hands full of sweet incense beaten small, and bring it within the veil. And he shall put the incense upon the fire before Yahweh, that the cloud of the incense may cover the mercy seat that is upon the testimony, that he die not. And he shall take of the blood of the bullock, and sprinkle it with his finger upon the mercy seat eastward. And before the mercy seat shall he sprinkle of the blood.
So it says sprinkle it, what, eastward?
Picking it up again. And he shall take of the blood of the bullock, and sprinkle it with his finger upon the mercy seat eastward. And before the mercy seat shall he sprinkle of the blood with his finger 7 times. Then shall he kill the goat of the sin offering that is for the people, and bring his blood within the veil, and do with that blood as he did with the blood of the bullock, and sprinkle it upon the mercy seat and before the mercy seat.
Still in the eastward? It didn't say that. Still east? Yeah.
16th verse. And he shall make an atonement for the holy place because of the uncleanness of the children of Israel, and because of their transgressions and all their sins. And so shall he do for the tabernacle of the congregation that remaineth among them in the midst of their uncleanness. And there shall be no man in the tabernacle of the congregation when he goeth in to make an atonement in the holy place, until he come out, and have made an atonement for himself, and for his household, and for all the congregation of Israel. And he shall go out unto the altar that is before Yahweh, and make an atonement for it, and shall take the blood of the bullock, and of the blood of the goat, and put it upon the horns of the altar round about.
Oh, that's where it said.
19th verse. And he shall sprinkle of the blood upon it with his finger 7 times, and cleanse it, and hallow it from the uncleanness of the children of Israel. And when he hath made an end of reconciling the holy place, and the tabernacle of the congregation, and the altar, he shall bring the live goat. And Aaron shall lay both his hands upon the head of the live goat, and confess over him all the iniquities of the children of Israel,
Right.
and all their transgressions in all their sins, putting them upon the head of the goat, and shall send him away by the hand of a fit man into the wilderness. And the goat shall bear upon him all their iniquities unto a land not inhabited. And he shall let go the goat in the wilderness. 23rd verse. And Aaron shall come into the tabernacle of the congregation, and shall put off the linen garments which he put on when he went into the holy place, and shall leave them there. And he shall wash his flesh with water in the holy place, and put on his garments, and come forth, and offer his burnt offering, and the burnt offering of the people, and make an atonement for himself and for the people. And the fat of the sin offering shall he burn upon the altar. And he that let go the goat for the scapegoat shall wash his clothes, and bathe his flesh in water, and afterward come into the camp. And the bullock for the sin offering, and the goat for the sin offering, whose blood was brought in to make atonement in the holy place, shall one carry forth without the camp, and they shall burn in the fire their skins, and their flesh, and their dung.
So one was for the sin of the priest, for his family, one for the people, and one for the cleansing of the tabernacle. And I believe that's what Daniel was talking about, the 2,300 days, right? And then is what is showing forth that the true Yahshua is the true sacrifice, is the one that would, clean us up. What it's doing is pointing to Yahshua the Messiah, and and that he's the true Lamb, and he's the only one that can really clean us up. I want to talk a little bit about, I had a little discussion, I'm not going to say it because they may be watching from Florida, so I'm not going to say it, about the name. And we're talking about Yahshua. We say that Yahweh is salvation here. And the discussion was that there's many Yahusha. I did not look it up because I did not have time to look up all the different form of, according to them, of Yahshua. So what we're saying that Yahweh's salvation is just, they were telling me it's just one manifestation of this and that. But we call Yahweh, we pronounce Yahweh because we use the vowel A for Adam and E for Eve, the male and female, so we can pronounce it. But it do come from the where's the tetragrammaton? Where is that? Where is it? Oh, yeah. But really, it's from all this. That's what this is. But I was saying, Yahweh is, we say, I will be what I will to be, I am that I am, is not it. But Yahweh is, or we say it's be, but he's everything. He's past, present, future, he's always is. And I really could not show how he is. I couldn't, and I believe the reason for that is because I could not go any further because that's where I had to end the conversation. But we are made up of his stuff. Everything in this creation is made up of the stuff of Yahweh. And it's depicted here in this little graph. It says, and if you listen to the moderation, Yahweh is pure spirit. You only can see him in vision, but he manifested himself as Yeshua the Messiah walking the earth plane. But this is a good depiction of what's going on in the world, or in the universe, or in his creation. Now, we always said that there's no J in the Hebrew and Greek Latin language, and you should do a minor investigation in a dictionary because the letter J did not exist. What exists was the Y and first, and then the I, and then they put the little hook. So Jesus come and was the J did not existed in the English language until 14 to 1600 years after the Messiah's death. So his true name is Yahshua. He cannot be Jesus or Jehovah. And I know we have members in this class that go through what Lord mean and what God mean. And if you look and you go into the dictionary, really deep into the dictionary, and what's the base that? The what? The etymology. You can find out that these is not what you think. When you call Lord, you have to know what you're saying. I will leave it as that a little bit. But what I want to emphasize that Yahweh is pure spirit and he is everything and he's all in all. We usually say that. And we cannot pinpoint him or just say he's this, he's that. He's everything. He's all of us. And, we are made up of his image and his likeness and with his material. And with that, I say hallelujah.
Our next speaker will be Dr. Tim McNamara.
There you go. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here. Hadn't really... Well, I'll just go here, because this is where I've been. This chart right here that we call Elohim, the archetype or the pattern of the universe, original, because archetype means original pattern. And we're referring to Elohim as the archetype pattern of the universe. This is the perfect threefold pattern, all right, that Yahweh pitched and not the man. We also refer to this as the Moses chart. Because we have Moses here, we have Moses here, Moses here, Moses up here in the mount. But we also have John, a John here, not the same John that's here, but we have a John, and John here, and also John here, right? So I was looking at this chart, and again, this is the title, and we affectionately call it the Moses chart. But really what this chart is the revelation of Yahshua the Messiah. All right? As being revealed to Moses here and to John here. They're both seeing Yahshua, Yahweh, Yahshua doing his thing, creating the creation, bringing everything in. And these two here would be likened unto the two wings, or the two cherubim that sit upon the mercy seat and pay witness to Yahshua the Messiah, because that's what these two cherubim here are doing. All right, they're not looking at each other, but they're witnessing or paying witness, I'll put it that way, to Yahweh or Yahshua the Messiah as he sits upon that mercy seat, okay, and does his thing. This is, I've never tackled this chart, so this is the first. So give me the Acts 17 and 24, 28, somewhere in there. Andy's favorite, one of Andy's favorite scripture. Because we have this cloud drawn all the way around this chart. This is different doing this with my left hand. Anyways, go ahead and read that.
Acts 17 and 24.
Where I'm not sure which one I want.
He made the.
No, I want where it says that we abide within him.
Yeah. So it's Acts 17, 20.
We live and move and have our being within Yahweh. That's
Acts
what I want.
17 and 28. For in him we live and move and have our being, as some of your own poets have said, for we are also his offspring.
Right. We are his offspring, and that's brought out in either Luke or Matthew, one of the two. I'm not sure which one. You don't have to get it because they both go through the genealogy of man, and one of them says Adam was the son of Elohim, right? And so therefore, that makes us his son, right? We're his great, 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 great grandchildren, right? So anyways, it says that within him we move and live and move and have our being, right? And that's, we have that drawn around this, we have this cloud depicting that, okay? That everything on this chart, which would essentially include everything in the universe, okay? Because we have the universe up here, so to speak, right? Up here, I'll put a point up there, because this is the 7 days of creation, but it's within the universe. So anyways, all of this, everything is within Yahweh. You can't get outside of Yahweh to look back upon him and see what he looks like, because, well, our finite minds cannot comprehend pure spirit, right? And so that was why he had to come down into this shape and form in this Elohistic state, so that Moses could comprehend Yahweh Elohim. Anyways, so we have that. We're showing on this chart how Yahweh is, or everything is encompassed in Yahweh, right? Now this chart is threefold in nature. That's the way Dr. Kinley had all these charts drawn up to show, because that's representing this pattern here. I'll point over here to the tabernacle, which in itself is threefold, with the most holy place, the holy place, and the court round about. And then you see these 7 numbers running up the side, showing the 7 steps of the tabernacle pattern, beginning here with 1, which is the gate. 2 would be the brazen altar of sin sacrifice. 3 would be the brazen laver. 4 is the door, and that's how you enter into the holy place. 5 would be the holy place itself. And of course, the door would be represented by this first veil too, because this first veil hung down over this. And was opened for a period of time during the day, and then closed for another period of time during the day. And how do we know that? Because this Red Sea here, which is a veil, and that's represented by this first veil, represented by the first veil. This was opened during the passage of the children of Israel through the Red Sea, but then when Pharaoh and his host tried to come through, the door closed, okay, and drowned Pharaoh and his host. So anyways, so the tabernacle is, oh, I didn't finish this. The sixth step would be the second veil here, which hung completely down over this. You could not see inside to see the Ark of the Covenant. As a matter of fact, I don't believe the Ark of the Covenant was ever meant to be looked upon at any time, because when they were to move, when the cloud got up off the ark, off the tabernacle, the first thing they did was cover that ark with a blue, I believe, a blue linen, right? So the ark itself was never really meant to be visually seen by anybody. It may have been a time or two, especially when Hophni and Phinehas decided to take it into the battle against the Philistines. Maybe it was uncovered, I don't know. But anyways, moving on. And then the seventh step would be the most holy place itself, where the Ark of the Covenant sat. And the seventh step is representing heaven itself. And this Ark of the Covenant is representing Yahweh's throne. It's a depiction or a type and shadow of the throne of Yahweh. So we have three compartments. This chart is in threes. Well, we've got different threes. We have down here, the bottom, which is showing the darkness, which would be likened unto the outer court, which we have printed right here. That's what Dr. Kinley put, outer court, showing that in the outer court was darkness, because that was where death, plain and simple, death was constantly happening. Something was being, I'm going to put it this way, slain here. You might want to look that word up too. Okay? There is a particular slain I would like you to look up, which is the 13 and 8 of Revelation. I think it's number 49, 59, something like that. But I'm not sure. But anyways, if you look up that word slain, you'll find that doesn't have a really good connotation to it. Okay? And it's actually a brutal death. Okay? It's not something pleasant. It's not like just dying of a heart attack. Okay? It's brutal. And I got to witness 2 of them this week with my dogs. My dogs, well, not my dogs, my daughter's dog. I was watching Honey, taking her for a walk, and this groundhog decided to jump out in front of her. And that was it, man. She ripped into that dog. She just like grab it and give it the shake, throw it down. Oh, it moved again. I get on it and grab it some more, shake it some more. And that shaking back and forth, what it's trying to do is snap the spine. That's what it is doing. It is snapping that spine. And then yesterday, I took my other dog, my other daughter's dog, out, and a squirrel jumped out in front of him, and he did the same thing. And I mean, these are brutal deaths, right? It's something to watch, man. And then they throw them down and walk off because they're not hungry. They're fed, right? If it was a starving dog, they would certainly want to tear it open, but because they're well fed, killing's just good enough, right? So it's something to see.
You want the definition?
Yeah.
This is out of the Oxford Languages, and it's a verb, past participle slain. Okay, it's kill a person or animal in a violent way.
Right.
Informal is greatly impress or amuse someone.
Yeah, that's good. Kill them in a violent way. That pretty much well sums it all up, right? And that's what John is actually saying too about Yahshua here. That's, well, I don't want to get into that right now. But anyways, so we have this darkness down here, which again represents death, right? And darkness, ignorance to the purpose of Yahweh, all right? Because that's what these people were down here in Egypt. The Egyptians, even the Israelites down here, did not understand or know the purpose of Yahweh. As a matter of fact, they were just getting acquainted with Yahweh at this point in time. They had not known Yahweh, not as a tribe, maybe a few people here and there, such as Moses or Abraham, and a few others, Jacob, Isaac. They all got to have encounters with Yahweh, Elohim. So anyways, so we have a darkness down here, and that's in the outer court. And that's, again, represented right here with the death and the burial, all right? Then we move up here into the wilderness of Sinai, which would be likened unto the most holy place, and you can see that it's just right here. We have this light area coming through here, a little bit down into here, and across here, because the children of Israel, the 70 elders, they were not allowed to go any further than the plateau, along with Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu. Moses was the only one, along with Joshua, but Joshua was the invitee. Is that the right word? Invitor, right? Moses was the invitee, okay? So Joshua invited Moses up here into the mount. And then, of course, the mount, which we have here in the cloud. All in the cloud here is representing the most holy place, which would be Yahweh's home, put it like that. Heaven. So there's your threefold in that way. And then, of course, you've got Moses over here, and you've got the tabernacle pattern over here, and then you have Joshua with John, and a few other things on this side. So you can see that, again, this is threefold in this way, too. So down here in the darkness, in the court roundabout, Moses, in his vision, saw the earth inundated in water, and this was darkness at the time. It was in the beginning. This is showing the beginning. I would actually equate this with basically the first line in Genesis. How's it go? In the beginning, Elohim created the heavens and the earth was without form and void, right? And darkness covered the face of the deep. Right? And then the Spirit of Elohim moved upon the face of the waters. All right, and we see that right here. We have this little dove right here, and that's moving upon the face of the waters. This would represent that Spirit moving upon the face of the waters. Then the next thing we have here is the Noah's Ark, which was the first thing that Yahweh had man commissioned to build, right? And of course, there was darkness all the way still through here. The children of the world, I almost said Israel, but they weren't Israel yet. All they did was worship themselves, right? And anything else but Yahweh, right? They did not give any praise to Yahweh at all, other than Noah and, well, I'm just going to say Noah. He was allowed to bring his sons and their wives in, but the sons weren't born until after, if I'm standing correctly, till after he was given the commission to build the ark, right? So, and then you can see also that the ark is looking black. That's because he was told to put pitch over that, right, to keep it waterproof for the most part, right? But the pitch is black. It's like a tar. And of course, we see the door and the window showing the two lights, representing Yahshua the Messiah, because he is the door and he is the light of the world, right? Then we come down here to the tent, which is Exodus 12:1. And this is the beginning of the children's exodus from the land of Egypt. Now, they were down here for a period of time. They went through, well, the children of Israel went through the first 3 plagues, and then the Egyptians got to be entertained by the next 7 plagues, okay? Now, the children of Israel were given a pass from the 10th plague, if I can put it like that, because they were told to take a lamb out right? And they were to take it out on the 10th and hold it over till the 14th, where they were supposed to slay it between the evenings. And then they were to take the blood of the lamb, put it in a basin, set the basin at the foot of the door, and then strike the 2 side posts and the lintel, creating those 4 points of blood. Feel like I got lost there somewhere. Anyways, this was Joshua. Pardon? Yeah, I was talking about the plagues. Thank you. And so this plague here, by them putting the blood upon the door, allowed the firstborn to be spared from the 10th plague, which was the death of the firstborn. All right? And of course, that was all being, we see the tent here with Joshua, Aaron, and Moses. Exodus 12:1, where he says, he's speaking unto Moses, and he tells Aaron, you're going to get a lamb and take it out and hold it over for 10 days. And that was Joshua giving them that command right here. So Joshua is directing them for this event down here. Now we have Joshua here on the cross because the world was still in darkness, and this is a death. So, and death is happening in the court roundabout, and the court roundabout represents that death and darkness. Not that Joshua was death or darkness, because he's not. He is life. We have that written over here, right? He is the way, the truth, and the life. So that's what Joshua did, and by him coming down here and allowing himself to be placed upon this altar, because that's what this is it's his altar. He had to carry this up the hill, just as Isaac here had to carry up the makings for the altar up the mountain himself, right? A type and shadow of Yahshua the Messiah. And of course, we have the 4 points of blood, the 2 in his hands, the nails in his feet, and the crown of thorn upon his head. So that would easily correlate here with the bowl would be likened unto the nails in his feet. The 2 side posts would be likened unto the nails in his hands. And then the blood on the lintel would be likened unto the crown of thorns that was pounded upon his head. And that's why they had to also strike these 2 side posts in the lintel. Okay, because these nails were struck, driven in. The crown of thorns was placed on his head and beat on there. Okay, it wasn't just placed on there. It wasn't like they had a nail gun back here and just shot it into his hand, right? No, they had a hammer, and they smacked that hammer probably 3 times to drive those nails in. And if you didn't know this, those nails back there were 7 inches long, and they were triangular in shape, so they had 3 sides. That's the way they made their nails back then. They weren't round like you find today, right? They were new, and they got bigger as they went towards the top. Whereas you notice our nails today, they're pretty much all the same size all the way up except for the head, right? But the nails back here, again, they started small and they got larger as they went up. And they were 7 inches in length and 3-sided. Huh, fathom that one. So, I mean, nothing gets by Yahweh, right? He's in control of everything. So, down here in the land of Egypt, now we had, and Dr. Anwar had gone through this, about how Moses and John here were witnesses to, well, let me put it this way. Moses, he hung out with Joshua for 40 years. Yep, 40 years in the wilderness. Got to hang out with him for 40 years. John got to hang out with Yahshua the Messiah here for 3.5 years. Okay? Moses was witnessing everything here that Yahshua did, just as Peter, James, and John got to witness everything here that Yahshua did. Right? So John, again, and Moses, they're the witnesses to Yahshua the Messiah. That's why I say this is the revelation of Yahshua the Messiah, because that's what this whole chart is really about, is revealing Yahshua the Messiah to us. So down here in the land of Egypt, Moses got to witness all this. He went through it physically, got to experience it. Whereas John here on the Isle of Patmos, 63 years after the crucifixion, burial, resurrection, and ascension of Yahshua the Messiah, he was brought out here on the Isle of Patmos, and he was given the revelation of Yahshua the Messiah, which Moses received the revelation of Yahshua the Messiah on his third trip when he went up in the mountain, because he got to see not only the 7 days of creation again, but he got to see all the genealogies from Adam all the way on down, even through himself, because he did witness in a vision his own birth, because he couldn't write about that. He had no idea. He was given off, right? He was living in the house of Pharaoh for 40 years, right? So did he have a knowledge that he was thrown in the ark for 3 days or however long? Probably not, until he had that vision. And so I would tell you that the first 2 or 3 chapters of Exodus is still part of that vision that he was given regarding Genesis. Went right on through. And of course, he got to see all the way down to Yahshua the Messiah. He saw the death, the burial, the resurrection, and he got to witness the pouring out of the Holy Spirit. Okay, so he got to see the revelation of Yahshua the Messiah, just as John was right there witnessing it, right? So Moses got to see that in a vision, whereas John got to witness it personally, just as Moses got to witness Yahshua out here personally, and John got to see all this in a vision. Everything that is on this chart, he didn't, prior to everything over here, was revealed to John in a vision. He got to see it all, just as he saw this down here. So that was how he could correlate, because he did see Yahshua. He saw the crown of thorns, the nails in the hand, and the blood, and then he was given this vision of the Paschal lamb being slain, its blood being put here on the lintel. I'm sorry, up here on the lintel, and then the 2 side posts with the bowl down here, representing the 4 points of blood that was here. All right. So, all right, we're at 9 o'clock, so I won't keep us over. And hopefully I can maybe do it again somewhere along the line. Anyways, I do thank Yahweh, Yahshua, for anything that I happen to know, because prior to coming in here, I didn't know anything other than what the lies that I was told in the Catholic Church. So, with that, I say hallelujah. Praise Yahshua.
That concludes our lecture for this evening. We hold classes here every Wednesday and Friday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. and every Sunday 11 to 1. Our third question and answer session is the third Friday every month, and for June it'll be the 20th. We can all stand for the doxology so we can be dismissed. I'll be quoting the last 2 verses of the book of Jude. You want to read it again? Oh, I get to try to pronounce it. Okay, there will be a memorial service for Dr. Tandy Tripp Saturday, tomorrow, the 24th at 1 p.m. IDMR 4573 Willoughby Road, Holt, Michigan 48842. Because space is limited, call Janice Welch 517-927-1056 if you plan to attend. Send cards to, I always forget that, Salim Kirk, 1023 Coolidge Road, Lansing, Michigan 48912. Okay, I'll be quoting the last 2 verses of the book of Jude. Now unto him that is able to keep you from falling and present you faultless before the presence of his glory with exceeding joy, to the only wise Elohim, our Savior, through Yahshua, our Sovereign, belong glory, majesty, dominion, and power, both now and forever. Let us all say, hallelujah.
He said he would make everything alright. 'Cause I had a heart to heart talking with Yeshua. Ooh, oh, oh, yeah, yes I did. I cried, Yeshua, Yeshua, Yeshua. Whoa, oh, oh, oh. When my way it gets so dark, I need your light. Deep, 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 deep in my heart. Oh, oh, and he said that I am not all alone. You just gotta trust in him. I just gotta trust in him. 'Cause you don't need no one else. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Whoa, 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 for the victory. Oh yeah. Thank you, Yeshua, for setting my soul so free. Whatever I need, you're so good to me. 'Cause I had a heart-to-heart talking with, oh yeah, oh Yeshua, oh yeah. Ooh, Yeshua, Yeshua, Yeshua. Oh, when my way gets so dark, I need your light. Deep, 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 deep in my heart. Oh yeah. Oh, he said that I am not all alone.